Good day, ma'am. I am Cindy Abjelina from BSHM 3A, and I'm here to present to you my report about the Chapter 15, which is the Tourism and Hospitality Management Education. But before we proceed, let us hear first the learning objectives. Differentiate schools abiding with laws from those that are not, to identify the requirements in the opening and operation of a tourism or hospitality management program and tourism-related technical vocational programs, and to identify the laws governing various issues in tourism and hospitality education. So the next slide, we have here the curriculum. So the curriculum of the BS Tourism and the BS Hotel and Restaurant Management programs of the different colleges and universities around the country should be compliant with CHED Memorandum Order number 31 series of 2001. It is stated that in accordance with the pertinent provisions of Republic Act number 7722, otherwise known as the Higher Education Act of 1994, the following minimum curricular requirements for the Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management or the HM and the Tourism are hereby adopted and promulgated by the Commission. So the government also encourages all higher education institutions to institutionalize the ladderized interface between the technical vocational education and training and the higher education, which enables students to earn certificate at each year level of competency and enables them to secure gainful employment. So on the next slide, we have here the school laboratories and other CHED requirements. So the grant of the government recognition shall be based on full or the 100% compliance with the minimum requirements prescribed by CHED in the offering of a particular program of study. Specifically in terms of faculty, library, laboratory, and administration, school offering BS Hotel and Restaurant Management or Hospitality Management are required to have different kinds of laboratories, such as kitchen laboratory for food preparation, a mock-up guest room for housekeeping, front office for simulation, mock-up restaurant and bar for food and beverage service, and a computer laboratory for computer subjects. So to discuss, for schools seeking to operate the first time as a BSHRM or hospitality management program, they need to secure a government permit from CHED. So after 1 or 2 years, they have to apply for government recognition, so they graduate their first batch of students within 4 years. So CHED has now devolved in inspection of schools to the regional offices through the Regional Quality Assessment Teams or the RQAT. So on the next slide, we have here the students' practicum or apprenticeship. So in relation to CMO number 31 series of 2009, or the CHED Memorandum number 31 series of 2001, the minimum requirements for the students' practicum in BS Tourism and BS HRM or Hospitality Management are 3 units. So it is stated that a minimum of 200 hours for each area of specialization in hotel operations and another 200 hours in restaurant operations. So it is the policy of the Commission on Higher Education or the CHED to encourage and promote strong academic linkage with industries for cross-cultural training and skills enhancement to ensure attainment of knowledge, skills, and desirable attitudes that will make Filipino students globally competitive. So to discuss this, the rationale of this requirement is to provide students a valuable experience by way of work immersion in different kinds of tourism-related establishments like hotels, resorts, restaurants, travel agencies, and transportation firms locally or overseas. So on the next slide, we have here the accreditation and the deregulation of the schools. So in accordance with the pertinent provisions of RA 7722, otherwise known as Higher Education Act of 1994, the Commission on Higher Education hereby promulgates the revised policies and guidelines in voluntary accreditation in aid of quality and excellence in higher education for the guidance and information of all concerned stakeholders. So, to discuss this, the collegiate schools are generally supervised by CHED, that those have been granted accredited status level 2 are deregulated and are given freedom to change their curriculum provided they meet a minimum standard prescribed by the CHED. So on the next slide, we have here the tuition fees. So the allowable increase in tuition and other fees in all levels should not be more than the prevailing national inflation rate. So the prevailing national inflation rate shall refer to the average annual headline inflation rate to the national level of the immediately preceding year, prior to the academic year for which the intended increase shall take effect. So to discuss this, any increases in tuition or other fees in all levels to be made up by the private higher education institutions shall be subject to consultation with stakeholders and approval of the Commission on Higher Education. So on the next slide, we have here the sexual harassment. So sexual harassment is stated in Section 3 of the Anti-Sexual Harassment in Act of 1995, or RA 7877, provides that in an education or training environment, sexual harassment is committed against one who is under the care, custody, or supervision of the offender, against one whose education, training, and apprenticeship or tutorship is entrusted to the offender, and when the sexual favor is made a condition to the giving of passing grade or the granting of honors and scholarships, and when the sexual advances result in an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment for the student, trainee, or apprentice. So the next slide, we have here the random drug testing for tertiary level students. So in accordance with the pertinent provisions of Republic Act number 7722, otherwise known as the Higher Education Act of 1994, and pursuant to Section 36C of Article 3 of RA 9165, otherwise known as Comprehensive Dangerous Act of 2002, random drug testing of students in public and private tertiary higher educational institutions will be implemented beginning 2003. So next slide, we have here the tertiary education equivalency. So CHED Memorandum Office Order Number 21 Series of 1997 provides the policies and guidelines on the implementation of the expanded tertiary education equivalency and accreditation program pursuant to the Executive Order 330. So to discuss this, many of the practitioners in the Tourism and Hospitality Agency were not able to complete college degree because of the various reasons. So some have become very successful and distinguished in their careers as chefs, hotel managers, restaurant managers, and travel agents. The ETEAP simply recognizes those skills and expertise gained from many years of the experience as equivalent of a number of subjects in a standard bachelor program. So The next slide, we have here the foreign students. So there have been a number of CHED memoranda issued in relation to processing foreign students in the Philippines. First, we have here the CHED Memorandum Order 53 and Section 1997, amendment to CHED Memorandum Order Number 2 Series of 1994, the implementing guidelines on the entry of stay of foreign students in the Philippines, and the establishment of an interagency committee for the purpose to conform the Executive Order Number 423 signed on 25 June 1997, amending the Executive Order 188. Also, we have here the CHED Memorandum Order 7 Series of 1996, the submission of the names of the designated liaison officers of the higher education institutions of the foreign students. We also have here the CHED Memorandum Order 1 Series of 1996, which is the submission of the reports on foreign students with expired visas and derogatory records. And we also have here the CHED Memorandum Order 15 Series of 1995, General Procedure in Processing of Entry and Stay of Foreign Students. And the last one, we have here the CHED Memorandum Order Number 2 Series of 1994, which states that the rules and regulations to implement and Executive Order Number 188, Guidelines on the Entry and the Stay of Foreign Students in the Philippines, and the establishments of an interagency committee for the purpose. So I guess that could be all, ma'am. Again, I am Cindy Abjelina from BSHM 3A. Thank you.